Back in 2017, Hyperkin released a new replacement mouse for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This is an interesting choice for a third-party accessory since the only game for the Super Nintendo that was ever really associated with the mouse is Mario Paint. I first received my Hyperkin HyperClick retro-style mouse a couple months ago along with a copy of Mario Paint from my last retro game treasure box. I found the device so odd I couldn't resist trying it out. The Hyperkin HyperClick retro-style mouse, yeah, that's a handful, we're just gonna call it the Hyperkin mouse from here on out, comes in a box sporting the style of Hyperkin's recent products. The box is perfectly square except the beveled corner bearing the Hyperkin logo. Each side of the box is unique and gives pertinent information about the product and warranty information. Inside the box there isn't much to see besides the plastic holder of the mouse and the mouse itself. Unfortunately, no instructions are included with the Hyperkin mouse, and the way the mouse is packaged in its plastic, at least for my unit, did lead to the mouse digging into its own cable a bit. This is purely cosmetic and did not interfere with the operation of the mouse, but I find it to be a bit odd the packaging would cause damage, even cosmetically, to the item it stores. The mouse itself sports a color scheme identical to the North American Super Nintendo console. The light gray body of the mouse is nicely accented with two divoted purple buttons and darker gray palm rest. The plastic used is nice and sturdy, and I couldn't feel any give as I put pressure on it. The Hyperkin mouse is also full size compared to the original Nintendo branded miniature mouse released with Mario Paint back in 1992. This larger design is nice, but comes at the cost of a bulky design that on first impression seems rather unergonomic. The bulkiness of the design and thicker plastic do give the mouse a good weight that provides the kind of resistance I prefer. The biggest difference between Hyperkin's mouse and the Nintendo original comes down to how they receive input. While Nintendo used a ball mouse, which was standard for the 90s, Hyperkin is able to use a more modern optical approach. There are benefits to this approach in terms of sensitivity, and you won't need to constantly be cleaning the mouse out with usage. The last major difference of note is Hyperkin's mouse comes with a longer cord than Nintendo's original, but still comes up short of a standard controller by about 12 inches. Gameplay is where we see the biggest upgrade from Hyperkin's mouse over the Nintendo original. Gameplay is very smooth and responsive thanks to the optical technology providing a higher DPI than a traditional ball mouse. Playing games like Archades, which I would only play with a controller before, and Mario Paint felt far more natural and precise than it ever did before. Being optical also lets you use the mouse in more places than a traditional ball mouse, like your leg or the carpet without running the risk of a bad input. Just avoid trying to use it on reflective surfaces like glass without the use of a mouse pad. While I don't own every SNES game that can support the mouse accessory, I was able to test it out on quite a few games and was happy to see there were no compatibility issues whatsoever. For a few of these games, it was even the first time I had tried using a mouse on them. Sim Ant on SNES was a poor imitation of the DOS original with its clunky and imprecise controller input. With the mouse, the game plays more in line with how you would experience it on DOS, aside from the system limitations of the SNES itself, of course. Wolfenstein 3D even surprised me with its easy one-handed gameplay. Best yet, the mouse never got uncomfortable to use like I thought it would on first impression. The biggest nuisance when it comes to using Hyperkin's mouse is knowing what actually supports it, and what controller port the mouse needs to be in for a specific game. There are only around 64 SNES games worldwide that support a mouse, with around 30 being available in North America. A small manual being included for reference on which games work and what port the mouse needs to be in would have been ideal. Even looking online for compatibility lists led me to some confusion over the game Doom. For whatever reason, Doom is included in many lists as being compatible with an SNES mouse. So I was confused as to why the Hyperkin mouse did not work with it. A quick search for the original instruction booklet led to a nice warning stating that, in fact, the game does not support the mouse accessory at all. For a niche replacement accessory, the Hyperkin HyperClick retro-style mouse hits it out of the park. Modernizing the tech inside the mouse allows Hyperkin to improve upon the shortcomings of the Nintendo original. If you are a Mario Paint maestro in need of a replacement mouse, or just curious to see how differently the supported games play, I have no reason not to recommend the Hyperkin HyperClick retro-style mouse. Alright, that being said, I do have one last thing to say. When are we gonna get a PlayStation and Dreamcast version?